UFC Fight Night Hall versus Strickland. 15 fights on the entire fight card. The main event, Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland, Sam Alvey and Roman Kopylov in a middleweight fight, Gloria De Paula and Cheyenne Buys in a strawweight fight, Kyung Ho Kang and Ronnie Yahya in a bantamweight fight, Nico Montano and Yan Wu in a bantamweight fight, Brian Barberina and Jason Witt in a welterweight fight, Munir Lazez and Nicolas in a welterweight fight, Ashley Yoder and Jinyu Frey in a women's strawweight fight, Shamil Abdurrahimov and Chris Dawkins in a heavyweight fight, Chris Greshmacher and Rafa Garcia in a lightweight fight. I can keep on going on. This is a humongous fight card. Danny Chavez and Kaikamaka III in a featherweight fight. Trevin Jones and Ronnie Lawrence in a bantamweight fight. So many fights in this fight card. Gosh dang. Colin England and Melsik Bangdazarian in a featherweight fight. Orion Koci and Philip Rowe in a welterweight fight. How long is this fight card? Ryan Benoit and Zaruk Adashev in a flyweight fight. Jesus Christ, that took forever. Oh my god, 15 fights for UFC Fight Night Hall versus Strickland. A lot of the fights are going to be mixed around. The Sam Alvey Roman Kopylov fight as the co-main is not going to be the co-main. This is the new order with Shamil Abdurrahimov as the co-main event. Cheyenne Buys, Kyung Ho Kang, then Sam Alvey on the main card. But it's going to get switched up ever so slightly, probably tomorrow or the next day to this right there. But overall, pretty decent fight card. A lot of fights on there, and a lot of fights that aren't really that good. Most of them deserving to be prelim fights, but overall, pretty decent fight card. 15 total fights is absolutely insane. But let's look at the first fight right here in the flyweight division. Ryan Benoit and Zaruk Adashev in the flyweight division. Ryan Benoit and Zaruk Adashev, I really don't know if either one of them deserve to be inside the UFC. Zaruk Adashev 3-3 as a professional MMA fighter, 0-2 inside the UFC. He's been knocked down at least 3 times by Sumaderji twice, and they got starched in the first round by Tyson Nam about a year ago. So I don't really know how confident you can be with the guy 0-2 inside the UFC and who's been knocked down so many times already, especially when he's facing a guy like Ryan Benoit, who has so much power, especially for the flyweight division, with 8 knockout wins, 1 submission win, and a 1 decision win. That chin of Zaruk Adashev, it does scare me a little bit. If he's getting knocked down that many times already, now he's fighting Ryan Benoit, who has 8 knockouts. That chin, I don't know. He can definitely get the knockout right here. But Ryan Benoit, in my opinion, has much better boxing, throws a lot more volume, and hits a lot harder than Zaruk Adashev. But for this fight, if Zaruk Adashev is gonna want to win, he needs to put it on Ryan Benoit. He needs to be on the front foot, moving forward, close that distance of 3.5 inches in the reach, and try to get the knockout early in that first round. He needs to just pressure Ryan Benoit, throw a lot of volume, and look for that knockout early. Because if the fight starts going to the second to the third round, Ryan Benoit, he just has better boxing, he has better cardio as well, and eventually Ryan Benoit is gonna throw a big overhand right, and it's gonna catch Zaruk Adashev, who does not have a good chin whatsoever, and is going to knock him out. So if Zaruk Adashev is going to win, I think it's definitely going to be in the first, because in the second and third, too much time is going to be passing by for Ryan Benoit to land one good shot on a guy that does not have a good chin. So this is a pretty easy prediction. I mean, wow, 81% going Benoit winning the fight. My prediction is going to be a knockout win. I don't like the chin of Zaruk Adashev being knocked down so many times in his career. I don't know. I just don't like the chin right there. And he's going to have to close that distance on Ryan. I kind of think he's going to walk right into a big right hand. So my prediction right here is Ryan Benoit making Zaruk Adashev come to him, and he's going to land a big right hand in the second or third round. Maybe Zaruk Adashev does pretty good in the first round with his pressure and volume, but I just don't think it's going to play out too well for him. I think he's going to get knocked out in the second or third round right here. Ryan Benoit by knockout in the second or third round. Should be a decent fight in the flyweight division right there. Orion Koci and Philip Rowe in the welterweight division. division. Now, Orion Koci has a lot more power than Philip Rowe in the wrestling, in the ground and pound, and just on the feet in general, with 7 wins and 0 losses. Lots of knockouts. First round knockout win, first round knockout win, first round knockout win, third round knockout win, first round Kimura submission win, and then 2 more knockout wins right there. Most of the knockout wins are due to ground and pound. He does have a couple of them on the feet, but either way, Philip Rowe, in my opinion, needs the fight to hit the ground. Even though he's going to have a 4-inch height advantage, a 9.5-inch reach advantage, humongous reach advantage right there. But either way, even though he's going to have the reach and he's going to have the height, he needs the fight to hit the ground, and he needs to look for some submissions. The main way he wins most of his fights are by ground up on TKO, or by rear naked, or by guillotine choke submission. He needs the fight to hit the ground. He has a jiu-jitsu foundation, so he needs to get the submission in the first or second round. If it's on the bottom, he can definitely get it. If he's on the top, he can definitely get that submission. But if he's going to want to win, he's going to need that submission, because Orion Koci has better wrestling than Philip Hall and has better striking, more power, more speed, and more volume on the feet as well. So on the feet and the striking, Orion Koci is gonna win the fight. On the ground, Orion Koci has the better wrestling, so is probably gonna be able to control Philip Rowe with his wrestling and with his ground and pound. So when Orion Koci is landing all that ground and pound, Philip Rowe needs to find a way to latch in a guillotine, to latch in a triangle choke submission, latch in some submission from the bottom, and that would be the main way I do see Philip Rowe getting the win right here. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Orion Koci just has too many advantages, and all he has to do is defend the submissions from the bottom from Philip Rowe, stay on top, and just have heavy ground and pound on top of Philip Rowe, and he can definitely win the fight. Do I think it's going to be a finish? I think it's very likely. 85% mainly saying finish. I think it is very likely. How many times has Philip he's been finished one time by first round knockout. That was 7 years ago. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be a TKO due to ground and pound, or if I'm gonna go a 30-27 decision. But either way, I am gonna go Orion Koci winning this fight by either a first round, a ground and pound TKO after getting the double leg takedown and just starting to go all off on the ground and pound, or if he just keeps on ground and pounding for 3 straight rounds to the decision right there. But either way, I definitely have Orion Koci winning that fight right there. Should be a really good fight in the welterweight division right there. Colin England and Milsika Baghdasaryan in the featherweight division. Both guys just coming off of pretty decent wins on Dana White's Contender Series, both around 10 months ago. Milsika Baghdasaryan, 5 wins and 1 loss. Doesn't really have the best cardio, in my opinion. He does have very solid kickboxing skills, but his cardio in the second and third round isn't really there, because most of his wins, as you can see right here, first round knockout win, first round knockout win, first round knockout win, and first round knockout win in 7 seconds, 9 seconds, 14 seconds, and then 32 seconds right there. He's finishing his fight super fast in the first round, so he's not really getting his experience in the second and third round. And the one time he did go to the second round and the third round and ultimately went to the decision against Denis Bazookia, his cardio did not really look too good. So that is the main thing worrying me for Milsika Baghdasaryan in this fight with Colin England, is going to be the cardio in that second and third round. Colin England has better wrestling than Milsika Baghdasaryan as well. I believe he got 3 takedowns in this fight on Dana White's Contender Series, if we can check right here. Yeah, he had 3 takedowns with 4 minutes of total control time. And he was doing really good in the fight. He wasn't really landing that much ground and pound, but he did have a lot of control time, and can definitely use a little bit of that wrestling to his advantage against Milsika Baghdasaryan in this fight right here. In the striking, I think it's going to be, obviously, Milsika Baghdasaryan will have the advantage in the first round. In the second and third round, I really don't know. That first round, Milsika Baghdasaryan is going to need that finish, because I can't be confident with that cardio. The second and third round is all going to be Colin England. He's going to win the second. He's going to win the third. He has much better wrestling, and he has way better cardio. Has some pretty good power as well with 4 knockout wins. But that wrestling, I think, is what Colin England is going to need to use, especially in that first round, because that first round is when Milsika Baghdasaryan is the most dangerous. So I expect the first round either to have Melzik Baghdasaryan go out there and just starch Colin England with a big right hand, a big head kick, something like that, or we see Colin England just making more of a clinch-based, wrestling-based game plan in that first round to tire Melzik out and stay away from the power that Melzik does possess in that first round, and then come back in the second and third round and just put it all on him with the striking and with the wrestling and ground and pound. So it's a tough fight to predict, in my opinion. It is definitely a very, very close 50-50 type of fight, because we do know the power that Melzik does possess in the first, but I have a feeling this fight is going to go past the first, because I think Colin England, all he really needs to do is just clinch up in the first round and tire Melzik Baghdasaryan out in that first round, and he should be able to win. So I think Colin will win the second and third round with his wrestling that he's shown in his last fight with Muhammadjan Naimov. Use that wrestling, get a lot of ground and pound, a lot of control time, and just beat the way worse in the second and third round with the cardio of Melzik Baghdasaryan. So my prediction right here is definitely going towards Colin England, the underdog, at plus 125. The odds right now, I'm not too sure if they've changed any, so right now it's at minus 150 and plus 130. The odds actually started having Colin England at minus 160, which is probably where they should be. Colin England should definitely be the favorite in this fight. No idea why he's not the favorite. If I were you watching this video, I would probably put a couple of dollars down, or whatever you want, honestly. Just put a couple of dollars down on Colin England right here, because he's definitely supposed to be the favorite. I don't know why he's the underdog, especially with that cardio that Melzik Baghdasaryan does have. I definitely do think these odds are going to go way, way down, and then by the end, right when the fight's about to happen, Colin England will be the favorite because of the cardio and because of his wrestling advantage as well. So my prediction is definitely going to be the underdog, who should not be an underdog, in Colin England right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the featherweight division right there. We got Trevin Jones and Ronnie Lawrence in the bantamweight division. Now, the first thing I really have to get over is the betting odds. I have no idea how my man right here, Ronnie Lawrence, is a minus 200 favorite. There's no way you should be a double favorite on Trevin Jones. That's just, there's no chance you should be a double favorite. Trevin Jones is a black belt in BJJ and has a lot of power in his hands. Knocked out Mario Batista and knocked out Timur Valiev. Now, he was smoking a little marijuana, so that fight did get turned into a no contest, but he knocked out Timur Valiev. Very, very impressive win right there. They're both similar ages, 31 years old, pretty much for Trevin Jones right there, and then Ronnie Lawrence at 29 years old, similar height and similar reach as well. But Trevin Jones, in my opinion, is probably going to want this fight to stay on the feet, where he does have the power advantage. Ronnie Lawrence might have the kicking advantage, better body kicks, better leg kicks, better head kicks, all that type of stuff, but Trevin Jones definitely has the advantage in the power and in the boxing. So right here, Trevin Jones, keep the fight on the feet, defend the takedowns. I don't think that's going to happen, but defend the takedowns of Ronnie Lawrence and try to get that knockout would be the best way for Trevin Jones to get the win. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I do not, because Ronnie Lawrence, I mean, the man's wrestling, I have no idea how he got so good at just taking people down over and over and over again. I'm not talking about 4 or 5 takedowns. I'm talking Merab Dvalishvili level wrestling. I mean, you look right here. Oh my God, 10.86 takedowns every single fight, 76% accuracy, and then 100% takedown defense. And then Trevin Jones with 0% takedown defense, 20% takedown accuracy. Dude, that is insane, man. Ronnie Lawrence, the wrestling and the ground and pound is definitely gonna be what gets him the win if he does end up winning. But Trevin Jones, as I said before, he does have a black belt in BJJ, which is one thing that could help him on the ground. Maybe attempt submissions from the bottom, and maybe use those submissions to get back up on the feet. So I overall think the striking is going to be very, very even, because the kickboxing advantage goes to Ronnie, and then the boxing advantage does go to Trevin. So it ultimately does come down to, will Ronnie Lawrence get the takedowns? And for how much cardio Ronnie Lawrence does have, going for 11 takedowns and landing 11 takedowns, I think he's going to get the fight down eventually, one time or another, and over and over and over again, and eventually probably win this fight by a decision, maybe a ground and pound TKO. But it's definitely not one I'd be super, super confident in, especially with the power of Trevin Jones and the BJJ black belt that Trevin Jones does have. But overall, it's a really, really solid fight in the bantamweight division. Definitely going to go Ronnie Lawrence winning the fight. But would I bet on Ronnie Lawrence at minus 200? No, I would not. It's another fight on the fight card where you're going to be doing an underdog or pass type of bet. But I'm definitely going Ronnie Lawrence. He is amazing, amazing wrestling. I mean, 10.86 takedowns every single fight. I mean, on Dana White's Contender Series, he looked really, really good. But right there, Ronnie Lawrence by a unanimous decision. Should be a really, really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Danny Chavez and Kaikamaka III in the featherweight division. Danny Chavez, 11 wins and 4 losses. Kaikamaka III, 8 wins and 4 losses right there. Little reach advantage and then a little height advantage for Danny Chavez right there. But this was not supposed to happen. Danny Chavez was supposed to fight Do Hoo Choi, but that fight did get canceled. So now Kaikamaka III is coming in on short notice, which could give him a disadvantage in terms of the cardio. But I don't know. It's a pretty even fight right here anyways. The betting odds are very, very close right here. Let's see if I can find them. There they are, minus 150 for Kaikamaka III, and then plus 130 for Danny Chavez. The odds started out really 50-50, and that's right where they probably should be. This fight is definitely a 50-50 type of fight. Danny Chavez is much more fast than Kaikamaka III. I encourage you, all of you guys that are watching this video or this live stream right now, look up the fight with TJ Brown and Danny Chavez. The speed at which he's throwing his strikes and his combinations, it is just really, really good. I mean, that fight was almost a year ago, but I still can remember the speed at which he was throwing and boxing in that fight. It was absolutely amazing. The kicks of Danny Chavez are also much, much better than Kaikamaka III. Kaikamaka mainly just goes to the body and to the head. Danny Chavez loves to mix in the leg kicks at range, which is going to give him a much more slight advantage on the feet because it's going to slowly chip away at the movement of Kaikamaka III, and it'll score him a little bit on the judges' scorecards as well. But I think the speed advantage definitely goes to Danny Chavez. The power advantage definitely goes to Danny Chavez. And then the kicking game advantage definitely goes to Danny Chavez as well. And Kaikamaka III is also coming in on short notice, so that's another advantage for Danny Chavez in the fight. Maybe you give him a little age advantage for Kaikamaka. It's 26 and a half years old, but I really don't think that's going to come in play when, I mean, the 34-year-old is going out there looking super fast, super crisp. His striking is looking really, really good as well. But right here, the wrestling and grappling is a part where I don't really know what's going to happen. It's very, very even. Danny Chavez and Kaikamaka III, like, they land a lot of takedowns in their fight. Danny Chavez, 2.5 takedowns every single fight, 100% takedown accuracy, 84% takedown defense. Kaikamaka III, 2.66 takedowns every single fight he does go in, and then some pretty good accuracy and defense as well. So the grappling and wrestling, I'm probably going to give a slight advantage to Danny Chavez, but do I think that we're going to see any wrestling or grappling? I really don't think so. They're both usually go out there and try to box and kickbox for 3 straight rounds, mix in a couple of takedowns here and there, but usually, I mean, both Kaikamaka III and Danny Chavez, with all the takedowns that they are landing, they're not really getting much control time. Like, we look right here, let's look at the fight with Jonathan Pierce. Actually, let's look at the fight with Tony Kelly. He landed 5 takedowns in that fight with only 5 minutes of control time. So he's only getting 1 minute per takedown in terms of his control time. And then Danny Chavez, let's check right here, 4 takedowns on TJ Brown, only 2 minutes of total control time. So the wrestling and grappling, they're getting the takedowns, but they're not really controlling anything with those takedowns. So I don't really think that the wrestling and grappling will come into play right here. This fight is probably definitely going to be staying on the feet. And Danny Chavez with the speed advantage, with the power advantage, I believe even with a volume advantage, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Kaikamaka III does throw more volume, but he does get hit quite a lot more. So we'll see what happens here. I think Danny Chavez is a much better boxer and kickboxer, much better leg kicks, body kicks, spinning kicks to the body as well. The speed of his boxing as well. I think there's so much advantages for Danny Chavez in the striking game, along with the fact that Kaikamaka III is coming in on short notice. It seems like a pretty no-brainer prediction for me. I still really don't know why Danny Chavez is the underdog. I definitely think Danny Chavez should be around a -130, -140 favorite, probably right around where Kaikamaka III is right now. So this is another fight where it is definitely underdog or pass. I still don't know how he is an underdog in the first place. He should definitely be at least a 50-50 fight, -110, -110, but definitely a 50-50 type of fight. But I'm definitely going Danny Chavez, the underdog, because he's just a much better striker, and I think he's going to win the fight by a unanimous decision right there. It should be a really good fight in the featherweight division right there. Greshmacher and Rafa Garcia in the lightweight division. If I'm saying Greshmacher correctly, I'm not too sure. Correct me in the comment section below. But Chris Greshmacher and Rafa Garcia in the lightweight division. Chris, he has not really been doing too good lately. Got submitted twice by Davey Ramos and then Chaskelly, and then lost to Alexander Hernandez by first round knockout. He hasn't really been doing too good. I mean, he has 8 knockout wins. Yeah, pretty nice striking right there. It's 3 submission wins and then 5 decision wins. But out of his losses, 3 submission losses and 2 knockout losses right there. And then we got Rafa Garcia, who has amazing grappling and wrestling skills. You see way down here, 7 submission wins, 1 knockout win, and 3 decision wins. His boxing is honestly really solid. The only thing that I don't think is going to do that good in the boxing is because the whole time he's boxing, he's going to be worrying about going for a takedown because he's naturally a wrestler and grappler. So I don't really think we're going to see that much of Rafa Garcia's boxing, but his boxing is really good. He has very fast 1-2 combinations, really good overhand right as well. Loves to just pressure the heck out of you, get your back to the cage, and just go for that double leg takedown, and just ground and pound, and look for that submission. That's the main way Rafa Garcia is going to be winning this fight. Lots of rear nakeds on his career right there. Heel hook submission, armbar submission. Is definitely the main way would be on the ground with the grappling and wrestling. And Chris Greshmacher did get submitted twice by Chaskelly and Davey Ramos right there. And I do think Rafa Garcia is a better grappler and wrestler than Chaskelly in my opinion. So this fight is a pretty no-brainer in my opinion. I mean, there is a chance Chris Greshmacher could get a knockout in the striking game, but I honestly think the striking is very even. I'd honestly go so far as to say Rafa Garcia might actually have the striking advantage. In my opinion, very fast, very explosive striking, but ultimately he's not going to really be relying on the striking too much because he's going to be going for those takedowns and the wrestling and the grappling and everything like that. So my prediction right here is definitely going to be Rafa Garcia. 91% going Garcia winning. I'm definitely going Garcia winning. Way better grappling, way better wrestling, and I think he's going to ground and pound, and eventually latch in another rear naked choke submission right there. Should be a really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Shamil Abdurrahimov and Chris Daukaus in the heavyweight division. Now, I already did a prediction for this fight about a week ago, but the fight did get canceled due to COVID from Shamil Abdurrahimov. They're just pushing it back 1 more week, so I'll give you my prediction one more time right now. But it is a really solid fight in the heavyweight division. The first thing we really have to look at in the fight is the height and reach is pretty much the exact same right there, but the age is a lot different, and the weight is a lot different right there. Those are the 2 main factors in terms of the physical appearances of Chris Daukaus and Shamil Abdurrahimov. Chris Daukaus comes in 235 to 240 pounds. He's a very small heavyweight, but when you're a very small heavyweight, what does that mean with your striking? You're going to be a lot faster, and your movement is going to be a lot better. That is the style of Chris Daukaus. He loses a lot of weight, and he goes out there looking really lean, especially for a heavyweight, and really fast in his striking, really good movement as well. That isn't going to be the main advantage for Chris Daukaus, would be the speed and the movement, but we do know Shamil Abdurrahimov, doesn't matter how fast you are, how good you move around the cage, one punch from Shamil Abdurrahimov can definitely put your lights out. He has really good uppercuts, really good overhand rights, right hooks, left hooks. I mean, all the striking from Shamil Abdurrahimov is really solid. He knocked out Marcin Tybura. Andrei Arlovsky beat him by unanimous decision. Beat Walt Harris, Anthony Hamilton, fought Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades. He's a really solid fighter in this heavyweight division. 9 knockouts, 4 submission wins, and 7 decision wins right here. This is definitely going to be a fight that is going to stay on the feet. It's definitely going to be a striking fight. But it's interesting because Shamil Abdurakhimov, he throws more looping punches than straight punches. Chris Daukaus throws more straight punches than looping punches. Again, I keep on saying it in most of my videos. Straight punches beat looping punches every single time, and especially when you're gonna be much smaller like Chris Daukaus and much faster and better movement. Those straight punches are gonna beat Shamil Abdurakhimov way better than usual because of how fast and how good of movement that he does have. So right here, the best way Shamil's gonna win the fight is gonna be to move forward and just start throwing bombs and eventually land one of those bombs and get the knockout in the first or second round. But Chris Daukaus, I know he knows that Shamil Abdurakhimov needs to land that bomb and get the knockout, so Chris Daukaus is probably going to use that speed, go in and out, in and out, in and out, over and over and over again, and eventually Shamil is going to throw a big right hook, left hook, overhand right, some big heavy shots on Chris Daukaus, and Chris Daukaus with that speed is just going to come back with a nice right hand right down the middle, and in my opinion, get the knockout. I think it's a pretty decent prediction right here. Pretty easy prediction in my opinion, with the speed, with the movement advantage, not necessarily with the power advantage, but it is the heavyweight division. You don't really need to have the power advantage because everyone does have power in these heavyweight divisions. So my prediction right here is gonna be Chris Daukaus with a counter right hand right down the middle and knocking out Shamil Abdurakhimov in the second or third round right there. Should be a really good fight in the heavyweight division right there. Munir Lazez and Nicolas in the welterweight division. Nicolas 12 wins and 4 losses, 28 and a half years old, same height and pretty much the same reach, only 1 inch different right there. Munir Lazez a little bit older at 33 and a half years old, so maybe a little age advantage for Nicolas right there, a little bit experience advantage as well. But either way, this is going to be a striking show. I mean, Nicolas and Munir Lazez have amazing kickboxing. Munir Lazez and Nicolas they both have really solid body kicks, leg kicks, and knees in the clinch as well, head kicks. I mean, right here, let's see if I can find it. Head kick knockout win in the first round for Munir Lazez, and Nicolas I believe has 2 or 3 head kick knockout wins. Let's see right here. Head kick knockout win in the first round. I believe this one is also another head kick knockout win right there. So they both have really solid kickboxing skills. But the one thing that I'm gonna give the advantage to for Munir Lazez is his boxing. I mean, his power in his hands is just absolutely amazing. He has really solid cardio in my opinion. 8 knockout wins and 2 decision wins with 0 submission wins right there. But the pressure and the volume that Munir Lazez does put out, it's crazy, man. I mean, I've watched some of his regional scene fights against like Sasha Palatnikov, who we saw be a really good kickboxer. I mean, he's putting out so much volume and so much pressure in those fights. That is going to be the main way you beat a kickboxer in Nicolas, who likes to stay at range and just counter you and pick you apart at range and leg kick, body kick, everything at range, though. That's the main way Nicolas likes to win his fights, but the nightmare type of guy for Nicolas is a guy like Munir Lazez who pressures the heck out of you and throws a lot of volume. So I think Munir Lazez is going to pressure Nicolas to the back of the cage multiple times in the fight. Be the one on the front foot and just start throwing volume, lots of pressure. That's going to be the main way Munir Lazez does win right here. And I don't really think Nicolas Souza is gonna want to get in a firefight with Munir Lazez because Munir has much more power than Nicolas Souza as well. It's gonna be an absolute banger either way. I know Munir Lazez always likes to put on a show and go all out with just crazy flurries and flying knees, spinning back kicks, spinning wheel kicks. A lot of crazy stuff both of these guys do in their fights. So I think this one could potentially be a fight of the night. Maybe a Bryan Barberena fight, could be Uriah Hall, Sean Strickland. There's a lot of fights that are very good on the fight card, but Munir Lazez and Nicolas definitely seems like my pick to be fight of the night right here. But I think Munir Lazez, with the pressure, with that volume, moving forward on Nicolas just throwing a lot of different strikes, I think that's going to be what gets him the win, because Nicolas the main way he's going to win would be at range, and this fight is definitely not going to be at range with that pressure and volume of Munir Lazez right there. So I think Munir Lazez pressures the heck out of Nicolas and gets a... I was thinking TKO, maybe the second round, but I think this fight is going to go all the way. I'm going to go a decision win for Munir Lazez, 29-28. Maybe one round goes to Nicolas right there. But yeah, 29-28 decision win for Munir Lazez right there. Should be a really good fight in the welterweight division right there. Bryan Barberena and Jason Witt in the welterweight division. pretty easy prediction in my opinion. Brian Barberina, oh my god, I keep saying incorrectly. Brian Barberina, he's gonna have the age advantage, the height advantage, and the reach advantage, and especially the power advantage right there. 15 wins and 7 losses. With all of those wins, except for 2 submission wins and 3 decision wins, coming by knockout right there. 10 knockout wins, and a lot of them coming inside of the UFC. 3rd round knockout win on Joe Ellenberger. 2nd round arm triangle submission win. Nice. 1st round knockout win on Joe Proctor. 1st round knockout win on Jake Ellenberger right there. And then a decision win on Anthony Ivy. But he's put on really close fights with Leon Edwards and Vicente Luque. Let's look at these stats right here. This is what I want to look at. The fight with Leon Edwards, it was surprisingly very close. Let's see right here. So if I can find it. So the Leon Edwards fight, he had way more strikes than Leon Edwards. 44 strikes to 23 strikes, and got a knockdown on Leon Edwards right there. So he had double the amount of strikes and a knockdown, but the wrestling of Leon Edwards was the thing that got him the win. But Brian Barberina, if he's outstriking an amazing kickboxer like Leon Edwards, that is very impressive. Getting a knockdown on Vicente Luque, and look at those strike differential, 164 to 195. He was outlanding on Vicente Luque right there. He was about to win the fight, in my opinion. So the 1st round probably went to Vicente Luque. The 2nd round went to Brian Barberina. And then that 3rd round was an absolute war. And then Vicente Luque, crazily, with like 6 seconds left, that got that knockout. But he got a knockdown on Vicente Luque, knocked out Jake Ellenberger, got a knockdown on Leon Edwards. I mean, come on, dominated Warley Alves on the feet. I mean, his striking is just really good. He has so much power in his hands. His only losses are to really like top 15 type of guys. Colby Covington right there, Leon Edwards, both guys in the top 5 of the welterweight division. Vicente Luque, who he was about to beat, to be honest, if he landed just a couple of more strikes and did not get knocked out in the 3rd round. And then Randy Brown, a top 20 welterweight fighter in the world. So he's getting really close fights with a lot of really good guys in the welterweight division. Not to mention his takedown defense is really solid as well. 60% takedown defense. The only people that were able to really take him down consistently were Colby Covington and then Leon Edwards. And that's the main reason his takedown defense doesn't look too good, is mainly because of Colby Covington and Leon Edwards. That's pretty much it. Other than that, his takedown defense is amazing, and his striking is even better than that. Jason Witt, I haven't really even been talking about it for this whole entire video, but Jason Witt is a really solid wrestler, but nowhere near the wrestling of a guy like Colby Covington. So I think this fight is definitely going to stay on the feet. Brian Barberina has amazing takedown defense, will keep the fight on the feet, and probably knock him out. I'm going a knockout win in the 1st or 2nd round. I mean, he got knocked out by Matthew Semmelsberger by 1 punch in the 1st round. Brian Barberina, I mean, look at this dude right here. He's a savage, absolute beast. So easy prediction right there. The age advantage, the height advantage, the reach advantage, the takedown defense, the power advantage as well. KO, TKO win for Brian Barberina in the 1st or 2nd round right there. Should be a really good fight, especially if it's a knockout for Brian Barberina right there. Nico Montano and Yanan Wu in the women's bantamweight division. Nico Montano, I mean, she has not fought in forever, but she's only 32 and a half years old right there. A lot smaller and a little bit less in the reach department right there. But we all know exactly how she's going to go out there and try to win the fight. It would be in the wrestling and grappling game. Against Roxanne Modafferi, she wrestled and grappled to get the win. Had a really close fight with Juliana Pena in the wrestling and grappling game, and then she was actually the first ever UFC flyweight champion. Then Valentina Shevchenko and all those girls, but she was the first ever champion and won it on the Ultimate Fighter a couple of years ago. But her wrestling and her grappling is definitely what she needs to use to get the win right here. Because on the feet, I think Yanan Wu is probably gonna beat her. I mean, Yanan Wu isn't really necessarily like the best striker, but she doesn't really have the best takedown defense or the best grappling or wrestling or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting fight. She got dominated by Gina Monzani right there. We got taken down 5 times. Control for 8 minutes right there against Gina Monzani. And I honestly do think Nico Montano is a better wrestler and a better grappler than Gina Monzani, if I'm being quite honest. So Right here, I do think Nico Montano is going to use the really solid takedown and get maybe 2-3 takedowns in the fight, control the fight on the ground, and most likely end up winning the fight by a decision right here. So you got 3 takedowns on Roxanne Modafferi. How much control time? 6 minutes of total control time against Juliana Pena. You got 3 takedowns on Juliana Pena, 6 minutes of control time on her as well. So her wrestling and her grappling is very, very legit. So that is what she's going to use to win this fight, and I do think she definitely will win. Making a comeback a long time from her last fight, which was around 2 years ago. But she'll use that wrestling, use that grappling, and overall win the fight by a unanimous decision right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the women's bantamweight division right there. Kang and Ronnie Yahya in the bantamweight division. We have some really, really solid grapplers right here. I mean, Ronnie Yahya, he is 36 and a half years old, but the grappling and wrestling of Ronnie Yahya is absolutely insane. I mean, they have him as the 72nd best grappler of all time. You look way, way down here. 21 submission wins and 6 decision wins inside of the WEC. Got 3 first-round submission wins in a row. Fought Joseph Benavidez. Takeya Mizugaki right there. Beat Mike Brown. First-round north-south choke submission win. Second-round Kimura. Third-round arm triangle. First-round Kimura arm triangle submission win. Heel hook. And then a second-round arm triangle. I mean, the grappling of Ronnie Yahya, it's legit. He has amazing, amazing grappling. But the biggest downfall of Ronnie Yahya's full entire MMA game is, of course, going to be that striking. He's very, very small for the division and doesn't have the best reach for this bantamweight division as well. Especially against a guy like Kyung Ho Kang, who has a really, really long reach of 73 inches. A 5-inch advantage right there. And then a 3-inch advantage in the height right there. Also with the age advantage as well. But Kyung Ho Kang also has some really, really good grappling and wrestling. 11 submission wins, 2 knockout wins, and 4 decision wins. And if we look at the takedown defense of Kyung Ho Kang, you gotta look right here. It's really, really solid. I mean, you wouldn't really expect that from a guy like Kyung Ho Kang, but his takedown defense is really, really good. 71% takedown defense. And inside the UFC, the only guys that were really able to control him on the ground were Mishinori Tanaka, who got 3 takedowns on him, but he still ended up winning. Maybe Chico Camas, but overall, his takedown defense has looked really, really good. He outstruck Ricardo Ramos, and honestly might have won that fight. It was a very, very close split decision, so you can kind of make an argument, maybe, that he is on a 7-fight win streak. Not against really the best competition, but still, if that fight had gone the other way, it was a split decision, he could be on a 7-fight win streak right now. But the wrestling of Kyung Ho Kang is really, really solid. The grappling is also very, very solid right there, but I think he'll be able to keep the fight on the feet and make it more of a striking and kickboxing fight. And with the height, with the reach that Kyung Ho Kang is gonna have, or just the height and reach will give him the advantage on the feet. Also mixed in with the volume, the kickboxing, the leg kicks, the body kicks, the 1-2, the overhand right. All the striking things that Kyung Ho Kang does have are way, way better than the strict grappler in Ronnie Yahya. Don't get me wrong, I do want Ronnie Yahya to win. I mean, I love when he fights and just dominates people on the ground in the grappling and wrestling. But Kyung Ho Kang kind of seems like the perfect opponent for Ronnie Yahya, because Kyung Ho Kang has really good takedowns, really good wrestling, really good grappling, and will be able to defend all the grappling and wrestling from Ronnie Yahya and make it a striking fight. And of course, if this is going to be a striking fight, Kyung Ho Kang will have the advantage. So, it's a pretty decent prediction right here, pretty easy prediction in Kyung Ho Kang winning the fight by a decision. Maybe we'll see a knockout or something like that, but I wouldn't be too confident, because I mean, all Ronnie Yahya has to do is get one takedown and get right on top, and we know how dangerous Ronnie Yahya is once he gets you on the ground. So maybe you'll see a submission win. I mean, a lot of people have Ronnie Yahya winning the fight by a submission, but with the grappling and wrestling that Kyung Ho Kang does have, I mean, 11 submission wins, solid takedown defense, and solid wrestling as well. I think he'll keep the fight on the feet and overall win the fight by a decision right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Gloria De Paula and Cheyenne Buys in the strawweight division. Before I get into my prediction, this is a 50-50 type of fight. Gloria De Paula having the height and reach advantage by 2 inches in height, and then again, incredible reach advantage by around 4.5 inches. So right there, the height, reach, and then the age is surprisingly very, very even. They're both 26 years, 1 month, and like pretty much the exact same age right there. So of course there's not going to be any age advantage, but the striking is going to be very, very even. The only edge I give to Cheyenne Bias would be in the wrestling and grappling. I mean, both girls aren't really known for their wrestling and grappling, but watching the last fight with Gloria de Paula and Jinyu Frey, Gloria de Paula did not look too good. She looked kind of like a fish on her back, just a fish out of the water. That's pretty much the best way I could describe you with Gloria de Paula in her last fight with Jinyu Frey. And maybe Cheyenne Bias goes out there and kind of plays more of a wrestling grappling game. That would be the best way, the path of least resistance for Cheyenne Bias to win the fight. Do I think she's going to do that? Maybe we'll see 1 or 2 takedowns. That'd be the best way for her to win. But in the striking, is very, very even. I mean, Gloria de Paula and Cheyenne Bias both have really, really solid boxing. Very, very fast. Solid power from both of them. Solid leg case, solid body case. I mean, the striking is very, very even. But the reach and the height, it kind of scares me a little bit, because Cheyenne Bias is going to have to come forward more than she usually does, and it could get her caught at range from Gloria de Paula. So the striking is going to be very, very even. Probably going to be very, very 50-50 on the feet. But the one thing that will give her the edge, again, would be the grappling and wrestling. That's why I'm slightly leaning Cheyenne Bias, but I do think it's a very, very 50-50 fight. If I were to have to put my own odds on it, I would probably have Cheyenne Bias minus 130 and then Gloria de Paula plus 115, somewhere around that range. I don't think Cheyenne Bias should be anywhere near a 2-1 favorite with the striking of Gloria de Paula, because she could definitely have the advantage on the feet. It's just that even that we really don't know who's going to have the advantage there. And the one thing that's going to separate if Gloria de Paula lands 10 significant strikes and Cheyenne Bias also lands 10 significant strikes, the only way you're going to kind of leave a mark on the judges and win the rounds would be with a takedown and a little bit of ground and pound. And I think the more likely outcome for who's going to control the fight on the ground, if it does happen, would definitely be Cheyenne Bias right here. So, super, super close fight. The fight on the feet, I think, is going to be like very, very 50-50, like 15 strikes to 14 strikes, 16 to 12. I mean, it's going to be a really, really even fight on the feet, but the little grappling here, little wrestling here from Cheyenne Bias will probably be enough for her to get the win right here. But would I bet on minus 190? Heck no. There's zero chance that I'm going to be betting on Cheyenne Bias. I mean, it's definitely a 50-50. I mean, if Cheyenne Bias cannot get any takedowns in the fight, Gloria de Paula definitely has a really good chance of winning, especially with a reach and especially with that height. So it's a very, very 50-50 one. If you're watching this video and you're planning on betting on this fight card, underdog or pass. This is the most clear prediction for me for an underdog or pass type of fight with Gloria de Paula and Cheyenne Bias. There's just no way she should be a 2-1 favorite on a girl that has such a height and reach advantage and similar striking skills to Cheyenne Bias right there. But overall, really even fight in the women's strawweight division, just slightly leaning towards Cheyenne Bias, getting the grappling and wrestling off every now and then, and overall winning the fight by a 29-28 unanimous decision right there. Should be a very, very close fight in the women's strawweight division right there. Sam Alvey and Roman Kopylov in the middleweight division. This is also the co-main event for UFC Fight Night Hall versus Strickland. Now, Roman Kopylov, he is a combat sambo type of guy. He has amazing body shots. I mean, I don't know how many times he lands a nice right hook to the body. I mean, even his left hook to the body is really, really devastating. And his kicks to the body. I mean, all his body shots they're amazing. I don't know how he got so good at just landing body shots so over and over again, but the body shots of Roman Kopylov are definitely gonna be playing a factor in this fight right here. He's the younger fighter, not necessarily the taller or lengthier fighter, but he is the younger, more faster fighter. I mean, his speed at which he throws his punches are super fast. Mixing in with the body kicks, the kickboxing. He does like to do a left high kick at range every now and then as well. Very solid kickboxing as well, but the body kicks, I mean, the body shots, the right hands to the body, the left kicks to the body, all absolutely amazing. So right here, he's going to be fighting a veteran of the middleweight, light heavyweight, welterweight division. I mean, this man has been fighting for so long inside the UFC and just in general. 33 wins, 15-1. That is just crazy. He's been fighting since 2008. Joined the UFC when in 2014. First knockout win, first on submission, second round knockout win, first round knockout win, and then second round knockout loss, first round knockout loss, and then a couple losses right there. So if he loses this fight, he honestly might be cut from the UFC, if I'm being quite honest. I mean, that is a 5-fight losing streak with a draw right there. Well, there's only 2 wins over Marcin Prachnio and then Jean Vellante. That's not very impressive, especially with a split decision over Jean Vellante. That's a little eesh right there. But Roman Kopylov, in my opinion, this fight is going to stay on the feet. So Roman Kopylov has a kickboxing advantage, really good body kicks, amazing left high kicks as well. The body kicks, the right hands to the body as well. The body shots are absolutely amazing. He's a really, really fast striker. I encourage you, look up Roman Kopylov highlights. And the speed at which he throws his punches are just absolutely amazing. So the speed advantage, the kickboxing advantage, the body shot advantage, the clinch advantage with the knees as well. A lot of advantages for Roman Kopylov. Not too sure who's going to have the power advantage because they both have a lot of knockout wins, but either way, there's so many advantages on the feet for Roman Kopylov in kickboxing with the body shots and everything like that. So I'm definitely going to be going with Roman Kopylov winning this fight right here by a knockout win in the 2nd or 3rd round. Should be a really, really good fight in the middleweight division right there. Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland in the middleweight division. The main event right here. 5 straight rounds. Will it go 5 rounds? I really don't know. It is a very, very powerful fight. Sean Strickland and Uriah Hall have a lot of knockout wins on their record. Sean Strickland, let's see right here, 10 knockout wins, 4 submission wins, and 9 decision wins. Second round knockout win on Nordine Taleb, second round knockout win on Brendan Allen, and then a couple of decision wins as well. If Sean Strickland were to win the fight, I'm probably leaning towards a decision more than a knockout, but if Uriah Hall wins the fight, of course, more likely he's going to win the fight by a knockout right there. But Sean Strickland has the age advantage, doesn't necessarily have the reach advantage, but he does have the age advantage, and his style of striking is insane. I mean, he just does this. Puts really, really good striking defense on, and just 1-2, overhand, 1-2, left hook, 1-2, over and over and over again. His striking is so unique, and he does it so well. He does the same type of striking every single time, and no one has really been able to figure out how to get behind it and land a good shot and knock him out. The only way people have really been able to beat Sean Strickland were a spinning hook kick, like Elisa Zaleski or Santiago Ponzinibbio and Kamaru Usman. So 2 really, really good beasts in Kamaru Usman, the best welterweight, probably the second best welterweight of all time, and then Santiago Ponzinibbio. It's really, really hard to figure out the puzzle on Sean Strickland, to be quite honest, but Uriah Hall right here, Uriah Hall needs that knockout. He's very, very explosive, really good kicks, spinning kicks in the face, spinning kicks in the body, all sorts of crazy kicks that he does go for. I mean, even his check leg kicks are absolutely crazy. First round, a broken leg win on Chris Weidman. I mean, everything to do with kicks, even checking the kicks. Uriah Hall does really, really well. It's just absolutely insane. 4th round knockout win on Anderson Silva, one of the greatest middleweight fighters of all time, probably the greatest middleweight of all time. 3rd round knockout win on Bavon Lewis. I mean, all of his wins are mainly coming by knockout inside the UFC and outside of the UFC. 15 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 4 decision wins right there. If his fights are a 5-round fight, he's definitely going to be finished, or he's going to get the finish, or he's going to get finished himself. But he definitely needs to land some crazy kick and knock out Sean Strickland, because if that doesn't happen and this fight does go the full 5 rounds, Sean Strickland is just going to outstrike him. He has way better boxing, really good cardio, and amazing striking defense. Everything about Sean Strickland just screams out 5-round main event. I mean, he's going to do perfect in this fight. His striking defense, 67%, way better than the 53% from Uriah Hall right there. 5.14 strikes landed every single minute. The wrestling, grappling of both fighters, we're not going to see any of that. This fight is staying on the feet 100%. Again, the reach advantage for Uriah Hall, and the kicking game advantage for Uriah Hall as well. It's a very, very solid fight for the middleweight division, but I want to look at Sean Strickland's last couple of fights. I mean, domination on Krzysztof Jotko. I mean, Krzysztof Jotko had no idea what to do. He got double the amount of strikes on every single round, and the whole fight was at distance with him just doing this, 1-2, doing this, 1-2, just with amazing striking defense. I mean, Krzysztof Jotko went 37 out of 198. The significant strike percentage was 18%. The man's striking defense is amazing because he keeps his hands right here where you can't really punch him, but Does that kind of open up an opportunity for a front kick or something like that from Uriah Hall? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, because he just keeps his hands right there, could go right down the middle with an uppercut, with a front kick, something like that. I really don't know, but Sean Strickland's striking is just absolutely amazing. Every single fight, where he's not fighting a wrestler or fighting some guy with crazy spinning back kicks like Elizeu Zaleski, that does kind of does scare me a little bit. Elizeu Zaleski getting a spinning wheel kick knockout win on Sean Strickland. It kind of does freak me out a little bit, because we do know Uriah Hall is infamous for the crazy spinning wheel kick win on the Ultimate Fighter finale. Let's see if I can find it. It was right here. No, not that one. Which one was it? I think it was during the show's creation, but he had a spinning wheel kick landed right on the chin and knocked him out cold. We know all the kicks of this man right here are just absolutely vicious, and Sean Strickland getting knocked out by a spinning wheel kick, I don't know. That's pretty interesting right there. But Uriah Hall needs a finish. I mean, I can say that for 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes, Uriah Hall needs that finish in the first or second round. I think Sean Strickland's gonna land a lot more volume. I mean, he lands 2 more strikes every single minute and has way better striking defense. So he needs a finish. I just can't stress it enough. But I mean, it's always a possibility with a guy like Uriah Hall with 15 knockouts, but I think the fight's going to go all the way. Sean Strickland, just his striking defense, I think he's going to defend all the head kicks, the spinning wheel kicks. I think he's just going to defend all those strikes and just kind of dominate Uriah Hall with just his crazy style of just 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 over and over and over again. So I think the fight is going to go all the way. It's going to go the full 5 rounds. Maybe I'll give Uriah Hall the first round, and there could be instances where Uriah Hall does land a good shot and stumble Sean Strickland, but do I think he's going to finish him? No, I do not. I think Sean Strickland's style, his striking defense, his volume of strikes landed every single minute is way better than Uriah Hall, so I think the fight goes all the way. I got Sean Strickland just outlanding Uriah Hall for 4 out of the 5 rounds, except for the first round. The first round, Uriah Hall is going to be looking for that finish because he needs a finish, but I don't think we're going to see a finish. I think the fight goes all the way. Sean Strickland winning that fight right there by a 3-rounder, a 49-46 unanimous decision with the first round going to Uriah Hall right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the middleweight division right there. But yeah, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Hall, or Hall versus Strickland as it says right there. 15 fights on the entire fight card. Uriah Hall, Sean Strickland. I got Sean Strickland winning that fight by a decision. Roman Kopylov and Sam Alvey. I got Roman Kopylov winning that fight by KO or TKO in the second or third round. Cheyenne Baez, Gloria DePaula. I got Cheyenne Baez winning that fight by a very, very close decision. Again, underdog or pass for Gloria DePaula right there. For Kyung Ho Kang and then Ronnie Yahya. I got Kyung Ho Kang winning that fight by a decision right there. Nico Montano and Yanan Wu. I got Nico Montano by a decision right there. Bryan Barberena and Jason Witt. I got Bryan Barberena by a KO or TKO win in the first or second round right there. Munir Lazez and Nicolas fight of the night for sure. I got Munir Lazez winning that fight by a decision. Maybe an early knockout, but more likely a decision win right there. Ashley Yoder and Jinyu Frey. I was doing my prediction, but I don't even want to do my prediction for that one, so I'm just gonna pass on that one right there. Do not bet on that fight. I don't even want to watch that fight. I'm gonna pass on that one. We'll go on to the next one right here. Shamil Abdurrahimov and Chris Dawkins in the heavyweight division. I got Chris Dawkins my second or third round knockout. Chris Greshmacher and Rafa Garcia in the lightweight division. I got Rafa Garcia by a submission in the first or second round. Danny Chavez and Kaikamaka the third. Danny Chavez by a decision. Trevin Jones or Ronnie Lawrence. I got Ronnie Lawrence by a decision. Colin England, Melsik Baghdasaryan. I got Colin England winning by a decision. Orion Koci, Philip Rowe. Very likely ground and pound TKO, but more likely, I think a Orion Koci decision win right there. And then Ryan Benoit, Zaruka Dashev. Either a first or second round knockout win or a dominant decision. I think it's very 50-50 on that one. If we see a knockout or a decision from Ryan Benoit, but I'm gonna go to decision. I'm gonna go Ryan Benoit by a decision right there. Overall, really solid fight card. Lots of fights. 15 fights on the entire fight card for UFC Fight Night Hall versus Strickland. But that is my full card prediction. If you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.